We're live. I just see the live on there. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our live event with Ciao Bella Paper. We're excited to have you here this morning. I know it's bright and shine here in Wyoming, and it's what in the UK?
Oh, hold on. Sorry, that's my fault. My volume. It's 5 o'clock here in the UK, 5 p.m.
Yeah, so it's a big difference, like morning and night.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to be here today, and I know that a lot of ladies has asked if we could do this in English, and I was like, sure, why not? Because last time I did it in Spanish, so I'm excited.
I know, I'm excited to see what you make. I've had a little sneaky peek of it. I even got the papers out beside me so I can rifle through to see what bits you're using.
Well, I got yesterday a surprise. I have to say, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I got my my paper collection for my shop yesterday in less than a week. I was amazed. I was like, wow. So
I know.
I'm excited about that new Christmas paper collection. So amazing.
They are rather, aren't they? They're beautiful, the papers.
I know it is. It's extremely beautiful. And I have some in the back. But they came in yesterday. It was less than a week. I placed the order of all the new Christmas collection, and I can't wait to get into that box.
I know. So. They are. Then there's so many elements. I was counting through some of them. It's like,
yeah, and that's the neat thing about the entire collection. Every collection is that they have so much within the collection that you really don't have to outsource anything else because everything is in the paper collection.
I know. And there is so much on so many pages that you can snip into, take away from, and still have a backing paper to work on.
Yeah.
As well. That I find, you can really make it go as far as you want it to go then. It's superb.
Absolutely. And I love about that is that, I mean, they thought about every aspect of crafter so that if you are in quarantine and you can't go out and get supplies like Brad or anything, some of this stuff has, I mean, literally the labels have like something that simulates a Brad.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how easy is that? You don't have to go out and get all this stuff. So that's the fun part of it all.
I know. Yeah. So I'm looking on the PC as well because I got a close-up version of it better than on where I'm looking at. But it is because with those, I just use like an embossing pen and then put clear embossing powder on, and you've got the metallic look of that Brad, like you were saying, straight away.
Good idea. Good idea. So there you guys. That's a good tip. Good tip. So you can just use your embossing pen and just make it look like it's a Brad when it really isn't. So we have Sonia joining us, Tom.
Yeah. And we have Tom, yes.
And Jova Scrap.
And I see Ciao Bella's on there as well. So we've got Tom and Sonia, yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Well, welcome everyone. We're so happy to have you here today. And Ina, I hope I said that, I pronounced that correctly. All right, so you guys get ready. You guys are ready? I'm ready. I'm nervous, but I'm ready. I don't know why I get nervous. I've done lives so many times. I just don't know why I'm nervous. All right.
It's weird, isn't it? Sort of thing. You get, and you're all ready, and you know what you're going to do, and you know what you're going to make, and you still go, oh, yeah. Do I need to get another little bit of something just in case sitting beside me as well?
I think a booster of coffee, like a big cup of coffee, will do us good. All right, so let's get started. I'm excited, so let's go. I'm going to turn the camera down.
Okay.
And we're going to begin. All right.
Cool. Oh, so while May's turning her camera around and just setting herself up, she's made this beautiful, beautiful project for us all using the Blue Note collection. And that's got a really cool jazz musical vibe. And it's got some really strong color tones in it, but then it's got some really nice light color tones as well. It is a really beautiful collection. And you can take it, you can make it very masculine, you can make it very feminine. And it covers so many different projects, whether you like your scrapbooking, card making, art journaling. It's perfect for art journaling because some of the words and sentiments are absolutely beautiful to use on it. Oh, I think May, you've turned us around.
Yep, I'm ready. Here's cool. What we're going to make. We're going to make something similar to it. never seems to be the exact way as what we originally created, but this is what we're going to do. We're going to use an 8x8 stretch canvas. And of course, our Blue Notes collection that Lou was talking about, which is absolutely beautiful. It could be masculine, but at the same time, if you like grungy, I just love the grunginess. I just love it. The colors are just my style.
They are mine. It's the blue and the orange undertone, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
So I'm looking at the PC as well as my phone sort of thing, so I can see a bigger picture of it all.
Yes, it has splatters. It has all the nice grungy colors that I absolutely love. And my son, he does play the trumpet. So I thought this was really special to make something for him. And I'm excited.
Oh, that's a cool idea.
It is. It is. Hey, Lori. Hello. Welcome. And Joyce, welcome. Okay, so this is the collection that we're going to be using. It comes in the 12x12, the A4, and the 6x6. And of course, you guys know that Ciao Bella does have some stencils, and we're going to be using a stencil today. And I just kind of thought it looked like the piano keys. It's kind of grungy right now because it's been used. It's been loved. And this one's item number MS021. And of course, we're going to actually use the A4 size on the Ciao Bella. And as you can see, I've cut it up quite a bit already to get us started. And of course, there's the 12x12 that is absolutely amazing and stunning. So you can actually do a lot with one paper pack. You really could. All right, so let's start by bringing in our canvas, and we're going to use some gesso. I'm going to use black gesso. And let me get my cup here. If you guys have any questions, I don't know why I feel nervous today.
Sorry, I'm distracted by the PC because I'm just going to have to go in and out again because it keeps freezing on me. But I think that's a Facebook thing.
I think it is Facebook. And YouTube has been freezing up too. So we're just going to take some gesso and we're going to cover up, prime up this canvas. And then I'm going to go in with some metallic paint, the blue, and then we're going to do some stenciling.
That's nice. What paint are you using? An acrylic?
Well, actually, this is not really. It's a gesso.
Oh, right. You are black gesso.
Mm-hmm. And I just have a big old tub of it, so it's a lot more affordable sometimes.
Definitely. Definitely. Do you cover the sides as well, or are you just covering the front?
I cover the sides. I'm a cross the T's, dot the I's kind of girl. I always think, what if someone lifts it up and looks underneath?
Yeah.
I'm just that person.
I must admit, I do as well. I'd have to cover all the edges as well.
Yeah. And I should have prepped it up, but you know, it's fun to sit here and do it and have everyone talk to me while I'm doing this. So I didn't prep it.
But it's also great for people to see in a real time scale.
Yeah.
You know, how projects can come together in real time.
Right. And sometimes I think, you know, that when you fast forward, you miss out a lot of, and sometimes people don't understand the importance of priming your canvas. It's very important because sometimes the mediums that you apply to it won't catch on. It doesn't have the same tooth. So it's always important that you prime up your canvas.
Do you have a preference in color gesso? I use clear gesso a lot if I want to keep the look of the canvas there rather than having a darker color, or do you prefer to use black?
It depends on me, what I'm making. Sometimes I use clear gesso. Sometimes I will use white gesso. It depends on what I'm making. But for this particular project, because I wanted to have some type of a contrast that matched all the colors from the paper, I wanted to put a metallic blue paint over this, and the effect with that paint and the black gesso just kind of, it worked out great. So we're going to try it.
A darker gesso with a metallic can make the metallic have a take on a different depth to the metallic paint as well.
Yeah. It kind of sticks out better than when you just take that metallic and apply it on a white canvas.
Yeah.
It doesn't look the same. So.
Yeah. And a nice quiet heat gun.
Yes. Yes. Although you got to get used to it, because, you know, you're used to that one that sounds like a machine and everything is blowing everywhere. And so this one takes its time, but, you know, it does the job. Yeah,
and it's the noise, like you say, the noise of the heat gun sort of thing. It can be hard if you're watching in.
Yeah. Yeah. I think maybe he thought about that when he created these.
Yeah. Well, you can see how quickly the gesso's drying by how suddenly the matte effect, you know, the brightness of the wetness has gone. That doesn't make sense, but it's looking dry now because it's suddenly gone matte.
Yeah, it's no longer shiny, it's more matte. And then you can also see my little areas that I missed a spot. Let's see.
A lot of people are saying that it keeps freezing and the live keeps repeating itself, which is a real shame. On Facebook. Yes,
Lori, the paper is absolutely beautiful. And Lori said that she's seen, you've been live hundreds of times. No nervousness. I know. I don't know why I've been getting nervous about doing lives. It's like you get tongue-tied. It's the same thing when you're recording. You get tongue-tied. Oh. You know what you're talking about. You know what you're making, but you just don't know how to say it.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Something, you know exactly where your mind's going and where you're heading. And then the two don't seem to work together, do they? What you want to say and what's actually you're thinking suddenly become totally different things altogether.
The brain does not communicate with the body and the rest of the actions that you're going to be performing. It's like, you know what you're doing, you just can't get it out there. Can't say it.
Or I like the way that you're doing I'm not sure I'm as good as you there doing the actual back as well.
Yeah, I do it just because if someone looks in the back, you know, I don't know, just cross the T's, dot the I's.
You see, now I do the sides definitely, but I'm not sure if I'm being 100% honest. I do the back as well. I don't know if that's laziness or what, but
well, I am known as a lazy crafter because I'll take shortcuts wherever I can possibly take shortcuts. I'm known for taking shortcuts. Like, I'm not one that likes to do a lot of fussy cutting or machine. Like, if I have to pick a machine or fussy cut, I rather fussy cut because I don't want to. Oh gosh,
sometimes, yeah. Tom's just saying on the live that he gets brain fog as well and forgets sometimes what he wants to say when doing a live as well. So it's not just us, but that's reassuring.
Yes, I'm glad I'm not the only one. And that's exactly what it is, brain fog.
I think it's because in your head you're making, aren't you? And you know what step you want to do next.
Yeah.
So it's like trying to keep the step by step, but then your brain's going, oh, you're going to do this next. You're going to do this next. And it's trying to keep the two working together simultaneously.
Right. And sometimes I think it's because we already know what we're doing and it comes natural to us that we're doing this. But when we're communicating it, it's a little bit different.
Yeah, totally. I'm sitting here watching you now thinking, oh, I wish I'd got some papers out just to join in.
Well, why don't you? What's stopping you?
I could well do that.
We got double camera. We got a double camera, right, guys?
I won't make at the same time, but I could be cutting out. I'm going to go and grab my box. Hold on.
There we go. See? You get double action. 2 for the price of 1.
Well, I'm just disappearing off screen. I will be back.
difficult when the audience feedback is off time as well. You're doing great. I know I would love Lou to hold my hand if I did it live. I'm terrible for keeping things on camera as I move everywhere doing. Yes, Tom. You know, and I found this wonderful tripod for my camera. And of course, I just changed my camera because I had one that was like 6 years old. It needed to be replaced. It was masked and it was horrible. Duct taped to the tripod. It was
I just
horrible.
realised how close to the camera I am. I've just seen myself. I'm like, "Ooh, sit back, sit back."
All right, let's dump that in. Okay, let's dry that little piece that I just.
Oh,
YouTube is not freezing. Well, that's good, guys. There you go. Lori said that on YouTube she's not freezing. It might be just Facebook.
Alison was saying it's difficult when the audience feedback is off. Yeah, no, I see what Alison means. You know, like if you're doing it on Facebook and we're talking ahead, but the Facebook feed is always a couple of minutes behind. Sometimes that can be hard because we've moved on, but the audience, you know, hasn't in chat, as it were.
Yeah.
I'd love Lou to hold my hand if I did a live. Oh, Alison.
All right, so we're going to go with some metallic paint now. And this is a, let me look, I have my glasses on, Deep Waters metallic.
Oh, that looks beautiful.
So if I was to just do this on straight white canvas, it would look entirely different.
Are you going to cover the whole of the canvas or just the areas where the metallic paint is going to show through?
The whole canvas. We'll do the whole. On the sides, I just kind of brushed it in.
Yeah. See, I'd be a little bit tighter than you. I'd just work out if it's just the edges showing. The center can stay black.
Oh, see, I think it's I'm that person that I'm always thinking, what if someone looks underneath all that and sees that I didn't complete it? You know, I'm just that person. I don't know if anyone's like me like that. I think it's because of my mom raising me up. Always make sure you have a good change of clothes before you leave the house. You know, that kind of thing, because you never know when an accident could occur.
Oh, don't. Yeah. Well, yeah, I remember when we were children. Yes, that adage as well, sort of thing. You know, if you're going to leave the house, make sure everything you're wearing is clean.
Clean, yes.
And I used to say to my mum, that's cool, Mum, but if you have an accident, you're probably not clean afterwards, so it doesn't really matter.
Hello, lady. Lady is here. All right.
So where else is the other people you're talking to watching you via YouTube?
I think there's the ones with the little red are YouTube, and then the one with the little Facebook. I think Lady Bloom is Lady.
I can't see the YouTube comments. It's just that someone's asked me, sort of thing. They can hear you talking to someone, and they were just asking ahead.
Oh. Yeah, you can see on the chat. I can see who's chatting, and where they're chatting from. So you have the Facebook with an F, and then the red is YouTube.
Oh, you're lucky. I haven't got that. Oh,
on your chat, you can't see that?
No.
Huh.
I'll refresh it and see if it comes up.
All right. So that's good enough right there. Kind of give it a little metallic wash there.
Just looking at Tom's comment, I'm terrible for keeping things on the camera as I move everywhere doing. Oh, Tom, it's just a habit that after a while I have to do little key markers so I'll put little markers at the top of the screen and the bottom of the screen so I know to stay within that area as best as possible. Doesn't always work.
Yeah. I just kind of figured now I know where my tripod should be.
Yeah.
And so, well, this camera has the lens is a little bit more wider. Okay, so I'm going to dry that up.
I'm just looking on the screen on the PC. It looks a beautiful colour.
Mm-hmm. It's a nice deep blue.
Yeah, it's got like a little hint of like a peacocky blue on my PC when I look at it.
Yeah. It looks kind of shiny right now, like a really bright blue, but once we start applying all the other things, and then we'll take some old silver metallic wax and just go around the edges and make it pop out more too.
No, it looks good.
Thank you.
I'm mesmerised. Amazing, isn't it? I'm just watching you use a heat gun and I'm mesmerised.
Why?
I don't know if it's the movement. I can feel myself swaying as you're moving your heat gun. So I'm going, sit still.
Hey, look, and it matches my nails too.
Oh, yeah.
It matches my nails. I planned that. I really did. No, just kidding. I did not. Okay, so now we're going to use this stencil. It is MS021. Beautiful stencil. And the nice thing about their stencils from Ciao Bella is that it is a very good mylar. It's very nice and thick. So you'll get a lot of usage out of it. And you know that some stencils, they'll easily break. These.
Now these, if you want to use your machines, these emboss beautifully through the machines as well. Oh,
from your big shot machines?
Yeah, like your any die cutting machine, as long as you also use the right sandwich, but they do beautifully.
Oh, I never done that.
Yeah, you with your embossing mat, you just layer it up as normal and put them through, and you can then have them raised, like an embossed image, and you can either put the stencil back on the top and color it, or put an extra layer of medium on top, and it makes it even more raised, pronounced.
Well, look at that. She's given us some wonderful tips, guys. Wonderful tips. Totally get that, man. I'm the same. That's why it takes so long to finish a project. Yes. I take very long time. I think about things sometimes. Like a card. Here's the thing about cards and me. I can't function with cards. My mind, I can't wrap my head around how to make a card. It's simple, it's easy, but I can't wrap my head around it.
Oh, wow. I often find that I'll actually make, I've got about 10 cards hitting. I'll actually make a card with the papers first, and then transfer it into like an album cover or pages that I want to use.
Yeah, I can't, for some reason, I just can't wrap my head around making a card. It's a very difficult concept for me in my brain. I don't know why. Okay, so we're going to take some, this is like a gel medium, but it's sparkling onyx. It's a paste, and it's, you can use any paste, any gel medium, and you can add a little bit of black paint on it just to get the same effect with a gel medium, like a gloss gel medium. So this is the same little concept. It's just a little paste. It's got some little grit sand in there, so you can hear that on the canvas as I'm scraping it on.
Do you prefer to use a brush to put your mediums on, not like a trowel?
I prefer to use this silicone one versus the palette knife. I have better handle versus a palette knife when I'm applying these.
The silicone ones also seem to have a little bit more flex to them, don't they?
It does. It sure does. Yes.
Yeah.
It's more flexible. And you can use like those silicone kitchen, what do you call those things that you use for your kitchen?
Spatula.
There you go. You probably think I don't go in the kitchen very often. But it's one of those brain fog moments that I forgot what a spatula was. We only use it every day when we're cooking, right?
I know. Very bizarre, isn't it, how you forget?
Yeah, a simple thing as a spatula. All right, so can you hear that gritty sand on there?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can hear it, and then because it's so gritty, you gotta get into the little crevices of the stencil.
Yeah. Do you wash your stencils? Do you keep them clean?
I do. And my daughter is here, so here in a couple minutes, I'm going to say to Carla, take this and wash it for me.
Oh.
So I'm going to go ahead and dry this here because we're going to do the sides as well.
It looks, I'm looking at the screen here. It looks wonderful on the screen. You can really see the texture and the...
yeah. And you can actually do that yourself with some glossy gel medium.
Yeah.
Add a little bit of black paint in there, and you'll get the same effect.
Yeah. Alison's just put in the comments that she saves her trails for her makeup. Alison, I'm sure you don't.
Okay, what's a trowel?
A bit like a spatula.
Oh, like this, like the makeup little brushes, the silicone.
Not like makeup brushes. You know, like the spatulas you would get that we would put on with gels and our mediums.
The palette knife.
Palette knife, yeah. She's saying that we also call them like a trowel as well.
Oh,
so,
okay. See, I'm learning something new, guys. I'm learning.
It's more the shape of it that makes it a trowel over a palette knife as such.
Oh.
Like you would see someone who was building something would use.
Oh. I need to check out your cards using Ciao Bella papers. Joyce, are you asking me about cards, or are you asking Lou about cards? Because I don't normally make cards. That's like my biggest downfall. I can make other things, but not a card. I can't wrap my brain around it.
I didn't catch that. Sorry. It went funny, the sound.
Oh, okay. So Allison said, or is it Joyce? Joyce said, I need to check out your cards using Ciao Bella's paper. And I'm not sure she's asking me or you. Lou. She's asking Lou.
I can't. No, you're just, your sound's a little bit distorted, but I can see what you're doing, so that's cool.
Okay. No, Joyce wants to see your cards that you use or that you create with the Ciao Bella paper.
Okay, yeah. Well, I haven't started my background yet because I'm just mesmerized at what you're doing. So I'm going to go and grab a card blank.
There you go. She can make us a card because, you know,
we'll make a card. Oh, look. Oh, let's grab what card blanks I've got here. Well, I'm going to go for the black as you're using a black. And let's say, right, okay. And I'll try and use the papers that you're using. I don't have that stencil. I chose the one that was the jazz one, which I liked, which has got the figure on it. I'm going the wrong way.
Nice. I like that. Oh,
it was this that I like this bit here. I was like, well, if I get in the right place in the camera would be a good idea. But that bit there, I just thought, oh, that could be multicolored. It could be so many different things as well. I just thought, oh.
Absolutely. I love that stencil.
It was, and the old-fashioned microphone on it.
Yes.
I just thought it was just all the visions sort of thing. It was just like, oh, I love that. It was just you know, that was just my, you know, my thing sort of thing. But I've got all my papers sitting here now ready to go.
So there you guys get 2 for the price of 1.
I know. I'm going to try and use similar things to what you've done, but make it into a card, she said.
Awesome. That'd be awesome. Are you going to put your camera down then so we can see, so I get to see too?
No, I'll do it sneakily whilst I'm watching you.
Oh, no. Oh, no, guys. I'm sure they want to see the process. All right, we're going to go ahead.
I'll show it as I go along then, yeah. I'm just watching you now with all your... Oh, you're going to do it down the sides as well. That's cool.
Yeah.
Alison said to say a trowel is also like a garden tool.
Oh, okay. See, I'm not a gardener because I have I don't have a green thumb. I think if you give me a plant to take care of for a weekend, when you come back, it might be just a tad bit overwatered.
We have a dog that decides to dig holes.
Uh-huh.
So you have one area of the garden looking really cool and lovely, and then I go and have a look, and then it's got a new hole for another plant beside it, shall we say, which wasn't meant to be there. So I've given up now trying to go for the perfect garden.
We had a nice little garden, and before we moved, we just recently moved here, and that's nice. I like that. You got to go a little bit soft, a little gentle on this so that you can get all those little grits inside.
It looks cool on the sides.
Yeah. But our garden was tended by my daughter. She loves the gardening thing. Poor thing. Tomatoes was never her thing, though. We could never get the tomatoes to grow.
Oh. No, I'm just trying to think what we grew this year. We did tomatoes this year, and we did potatoes and runner beans. Don't know why. And some lettuce as well.
Lettuce, yeah. We had lettuce. We had onions. We had carrots. Cucumbers are so easy to grow. I mean, that stuff is easy. And squash. Zucchini is also another one that's so easy to grow.
They take up a lot of space, don't they, sort of thing?
Yeah, they do sprout out really bad. Okay. Looks good.
That's looking really nice. I'm looking at the PC now so I can get a better shot of the side view there. It looks beautiful.
All right, let's try 2 of those sides so that we can move on to the other side.
Very organized. Tom said it looks very 80s, which is a really good thing.
Well, you know, Tom, I was trying when I got up this morning. I said, I'm going to go for the 80s look. So I dressed like the 80s, too. I got the big baggy pants.
Gosh. Oh, the 80s. Oh, the 80s was when I started work and stuff. So, and it was all power suits then and
yeah, with what was those collars that they had, the puffy collars? Gosh, what were they? The things you put underneath your collarbones, your shoulder pads.
Oh, the shoulder pads and all that, yeah.
Yes.
And then there was like lapels on top of the shoulder pads. Oh, there was some good fashions in the 80s, but there were some grim ones as well.
Yeah, there were some weird ones, yeah. I kind of like the wide leg pants. That was my favorite part of the 80s, the wide leg pants. And the jeans with the straps.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, they had that in the UK, but they had that here. Get it somewhat dried.
So will you just hang this up on your wall as a picture, as it were, or would you turn this into something else?
No, I would probably just hang it. I'm thinking of sending it to my son because my son was in band all through middle school, high school. He played the trumpet, so I thought I'd send it to him so it's more masculine for his apartment.
Yeah.
Dries pretty fast.
No, I noticed that it's drying really, really quickly.
And then, of course, you don't want to get it on your arms or your clothes, you know. You don't want to do that. You don't do that.
I suppose it's better, at least it's better on your arm than it is possibly on your clothes. Trying to get it off your clothes would be really...
Well, I've been known to do that too. I've been known to ruin clothes.
It is a cool stencil, though.
It is a very nice stencil. I like this stencil. I think the first person I saw using this stencil was Lady.
Oh, right.
I saw her using this, and I'm like, that is so nice. I like that.
It's nice to have a textural stencil. I love to do jelly plate printing.
Me too.
And that sort of stencil where you can just pick out portions of it and things like that is just perfect.
I like jelly plate too.
I do as well. Great quick way to make a background and lose yourself as well.
Oh my gosh, yes, absolutely. And you start with one and I'm just going to do 10 sheets. Before you know it, you walked out with 50.
I know, definitely. I love collage. So to me, the jelly plate is just like, oh, yes, please. So which paste did you say you were using?
I'm using a sparkling Onyx jewel effect paste.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm just flicking through like the beautiful the papers are just.
The other day I was playing around and I got some color with another canvas that I was working on, and I just used the gloss gel, and
Yeah.
I just add some drops of black in there, and it almost looked like a glaze, you know, the Tim Holtz glaze.
Yeah.
And I like that effect too.
Oh, it's not. I mean, mixing like your acrylic paints with a gel medium gives you a really nice, cool glaze effect.
Oh yes, and it's kind of sloppy on there, but I don't mind.
No, I think it looks really cool. I think it's.
I don't mind, Carla.
I'm looking at the PC at it sort of, and I think it looks really cool. It actually gives that sort of metallic, effect. Like if you were going to touch it, you could feel like it was like a grate or that sort of thing.
It does have some sparkles in there, so I don't know if it's got like, yeah, it does silver sparkles in there. So there's a little bit of silver going on in there.
Tom says it looks like it's got like little studs around the edges. It looks cool.
Yeah, that is. Okay. All right, so let's dry this baby up, because then we're going to start layering. I like layering. I love layering. Does anybody else out there love layering?
Do
it's
you
one of my favorite things to do.
Do you cut everything out and then layer, or do you go for specific things on the paper?
It depends. If I look at the paper, it depends on how the paper is. Like on the Chalbellas, because everything is, you got all those little tags that comes in the collections.
Yeah.
I kind of cut out all those little tags and then get an idea of what I'm creating.
I must admit, I get some of the collections home and I do sit here and cut out loads of the elements.
Yeah, I do too. I have a whole, the other paper, I cut it out so that the other A4 that I had, I cut it all out.
Yeah.
What was left from when I made that one, so that I can use and make something else.
Yeah.
With it. And that way, next time I sit down, it's already all cut up for me.
Oh, definitely something. And there, like you say, once you start cutting out all the elements, you don't realize how much is actually in the papers.
It dries pretty fairly fast. I like that. And it does have a little bit of a shimmery color to it.
It's got a great, I'm looking at, like I said, I'm looking on the PC, and it's got a great textural, really good raised effect.
And that's the neat thing about like a gel medium. You can put in like sand grits in there, and like I said, color, and you can make your own textured paste. You know, you don't have to go and buy this particular thing. Just grab your gloss gel and add some sand, a little bit of color, and you got yourself the same effect.
I love the effect with gel mediums. If you could put a matte and a gloss on the same project, how different it can make the project look just by the contrast of those.
Yeah, the two contrasts, the matte and the glossiness. All right.
I'm
says
looking at all the papers here and going, oh, I like that. I like that.
What's that?
So I'm looking at all the different papers and then looking, you know, we were talking about it. I was just looking at that paper there and just thinking, oh, what can I cut out? What can't I cut out? And
I use quite a bit from that page.
I know that there is, you know, you just go, oh.
Yeah. And Chabella has a lot, I'm telling you guys, a lot of stencils. Their stencil collection is huge.
Also, I think people don't realise, well, Ciao Bella do a lot of stamp sets as well that go with the collections.
Yes, absolutely. They do have a lot of stamp sets that coordinates with the collection.
So, you know, if you're into your stamping and you're into a little bit of everything, they've got, says me now rifling through my stamp set. Because I like to stamp onto the jelly plate as well. And, you know, create different texture that way.
You know, and if you have a paper that it's left over, hanging, left over from a collection that you've already used, like a scrap, you can use that on your gel plate and, you know, pick up an impression onto that paper.
Oh, yeah, and it's also a great way of adding in a different layer, a different colour. Right. Hi, Catherine. Kisses from Peru. Tom, the paper is absolutely stunning.
Oh, yes, the paper is stunning. Okay, so here's the pieces that I've cut out from the collection. I'm going to start cutting out this little keyboards here. As you can see, it's all from the collection. I just kind of started fussy cutting some of this stuff early in advance.
Yeah, no, there's some beautiful borders, isn't there? And I think I found the border you're talking about there.
Yeah.
On one of the papers. It's got two borders on the paper, hasn't it?
Yes, it does. Absolutely.
Yeah. But the back of the paper is, you know, is equally as stunning because the back of that paper is that one there.
Yes, I like that one. Has a splatter.
And that guitar image is just crying out, you know, to be cut down that edge and slide something behind it would look super cool as well.
Yeah, there's so much you can do with these collections.
Oh, I know.
You really don't have to outsource anything else because it's all there for you.
Yeah, like you say, it's all there. You don't have to do, you don't have to overthink it at all. And the colours always go together absolutely beautifully.
Yep. Now, this is the front cover of the packaging. And you can always use the packaging cover as well. So this is the packaging for the A4 collection. And I just kind of cut it out at 7.5 by 7.25. And that's going to be what you see the first layer here. Now on this one, I did went ahead and stenciled on top of the paper on this one here. But I'm just going to go ahead and I stenciled underneath this time around. So that's going to lay like that. And I'm going to distress those edges. And I'm just going to use the back of my scissors. Get some scissors at
the paper there now against your background and seeing the metallic popping through looks stunning.
Yes, it does. Kind of goes really good.
Yeah, they really complement each other.
Mami, buscame una tijerita. Ahí. Esta no me dejan abrirla bien. Sorry, my daughter's here helping me with the front of the store. Okay, so I'm just going to distress, and I break, and I don't mind. Actually, that's an intentional break. The most affordable distressing tool, scissors.
Oh, I know. I mean, I do have you know, like a proper distressing tool, and then by the time I go and find it, I've gone get the scissors out. It's just as easy.
I have no idea where my distressing tool is. It's buried somewhere in the midst of all the stuff I have. So just kind of bend it out more.
I love the smell of the paper as well. I'm just going, it smells lovely.
I've never smelled it before till now. I hear people that they're always saying, I like the smell of paper. And I'm like, never smelled it. But maybe curious.
It is. It has. It's got a really. It has got a really cool.
Mega paper, said Tom. Mega paper. Okay, so we distress the edges of the paper. You can curl up your edges. I just use I'm not a fan of a lot of tools, I'll be honest. If I can avoid using tools. So I'm just going to curl the edges with my thumb. Just a little bit different there. And we're going to place that there. And then the picture that I selected was from this in the same collection. And you got 4 images. And so for the first one that you see over there, I used this one, but I wanted to jazz up and make something different. So we're going to go with this. And this has a little paper clip, and I believe
It's all those little hidden elements in like those toppers, isn't it? There's so much.
It sure does. Okay, so let's get a paper clip. Maybe I could put that there. I had this here already from my stuff. I might add that there.
All right. Sorry, that's me banging my guillotine.
And this is the tag that I used from the same collection. And I'm just going to, again, all this is going to be distressed. And then I'm going to add a brad or an eyelet, not a brad. And I don't mind my paper tearing up because it just adds character and textures and, you know, makes it unique in its own little way. Use the back of your scissors to kind of distress that.
When you distress all your edges, do you ink afterwards or do you just leave them distressed?
I do ink. I like inking. All right, we're going to use an eyelet. I thought I had cut this open, but oh, I did. I sure did. Oh, not good enough. So you're making a card? Is that what you're doing?
I am, but because you're distressing your edges, I've got my scissors out and just doing some of mine now.
Curious to
I don't think I'll go quite as far as putting an eyelet in, though.
What's that?
I said I don't think I'll go quite as far as putting an eyelet in, though.
Oh. This crocodile is so old.
I must admit, mine is old, but bless it, it's still going strong. It's a good old robust machine.
It's one of those things that just never breaks. It just lasts.
No.
So for dimensional effect, I took 2 pieces of chipboard.
Yeah.
And these measure about 3 7/8 by 5.5. And I'm going to sandwich these up just to kind of lift the focal point, which is this little image here. And we're going to sandwich these 2 together.
So I'm looking at the screen so I can see a little bit clearer. Do you prefer to use chipboard then to raise your, rather than like a gel medium or 3D foam?
I rather use chipboard. One, because I normally have a lot of chipboard left over from scraps of projects that I make. It's a lot better than those little dimensional foams.
Yeah.
To me, I personally think that they're a lot better. Those foams, the adhesive on them aren't very good. So I prefer this way. So then this image will lay right on top of that. So I'm going to sand just a little bit of this here. I'm going to do it off camera.
That looks really good.
And I just use a cheap Dollar Tree nail filer. And I don't think you guys have Dollar Tree there in the UK.
No, we don't. I must admit, I was talking to someone the other day about trying to, find eyelets, and they're not as easy to find over here.
The eyelets?
Yeah.
Huh.
I think they're coming. They're not. I was trying to look the other day. In the end, I found some like industrial-sized eyelets that you would use for things like leather and stuff like that.
Yeah, the big ones. It's the real big ones that really, the crocodile doesn't have the hole for it.
No, no. It'll still munch its way through eventually, though.
Yeah.
Just going to grab a craft knife. Oh.
Okay. Let me get my distress. And I'm going to use a black. And I'm just going to use Staz On.
Do you have a preference what ink you use to edge yours, or?
Not really. I really am not the pickiest person when it comes to using. I'm not much of a tool person, that I can tell you. I can get away with using tools. I'm as happy as can be. It's one thing I do like about the collections is because I don't have to die cut anything. I can just, cut it out with my scissors and then call it a day.
Yeah,
the less tools I pull out, the happier I am.
No, I agree there. Something, and any of the tags and any of the smaller embellishments.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to, you can leave a border around them, or make them into toppers in their own right if you don't want to cut all those little details out.
Right. So just go around, and I do like using permanent ink just because sometimes on some things, unless I intentionally want the ink to kind of spread, but I normally do typically use like a Staz On or an archival ink that's more permanent.
That's what I'm using. I'm using an archival.
Yeah. And I I'm being very nice on camera. This is what I do.
Well, luckily I'm off camera, and that's exactly what I was doing.
That's me, but I'm trying to be good on camera. Y'all don't need to learn bad habits.
I was actually taking my ink pad to it, something. I wasn't using a blending tool.
Those are really bad habits. You don't want to ruin your inks like that.
No, I know, but sometimes needs must, and if you're creating, sometimes I can't be bothered to go and look for a blending sponge or a tool that way.
Yeah, it's a lot quicker. I said I was a lazy crafter. That's my lazy way of distressing
everything. Right, as you're going to use chipboard instead of 3D foam, I'm going to go and find some recycled cardboard and do exactly the same.
Yeah, and you guys have better cardboard because your cardboard is a lot thicker, and out in the European countries, they're thicker than here. We don't have them that thick here.
Well, your card isn't very thick here.
What's that?
Did you say your card isn't very thick?
No, our chipboard is not very. They're not very thick here.
I'm using. We have stiffed back envelopes. And I'm using the card that comes with that. I keep it all because it's great, for layering and doing it that way rather than having to go and buy something else, and feels like I'm recycling then, even if I'm not.
So this little piece here was actually what I cut off from here when I was cutting this paper from the A4 collection. So it gave a nice little contrast as opposed down here. So that's what we're going to put down here. And I'm going to go ahead and distress that as well. It's all about contrast, composition, and layering.
Definitely, I think I struggle with you know, embracing like the white space. You know, I think the layering it is half the fun.
The white space, you don't want space, or you tend to cover up the whole space?
Me personally, I look at it and think, oh no, that's crying out for something to be in there. So I love all the layering and covering it all up.
Oh. So I try to figure out where I'm centering everything. Where's my eye going to go? So if my eyes, this is my focal point, I don't want my eyes to do like connect the dots. I want my eyes to focus on one object and then kind of move around that object. So since I know this is my focal point, I'm just going to go here so that my eyes go from there, down here, over here, instead of all over the canvas. If that makes any sense to anybody.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah.
So this is one of the pieces from the collection, and I again doubled it up with some chipboard, and I've already glued it down.
Those records are really nice as well if you take clear embossing ink to them.
That's what I was going to do. I'm going to put some Mod Podge. I don't have embossing, but if you have your embossing, you can emboss, and then you can take some like metallics and just run it around to make it look like it's kind of shiny and it looks like the vinyl records. So I'm just going to use Mod Podge to seal it to make it more shiny, and then do the metallics. So this is a record that goes here, and then in the back for here, this one here is actually this little piece that I cut out. I wanted something that I can tuck back there. So we're just going to cut this one here, and I don't like using Timmy's scissors for cutting. Isn't that funny? I can use it for distressing, but I don't like using it for cutting. I think it's because it has that perforated.
Like
yeah, I don't like the sound of it.
Do you keep separate scissors then for separate tools? Like I'm trying to be really, really good recently and keep scissors that I use for cutting tapes or glues or anything like that. Just one pair of scissors just for that, and then paper scissors, or do you just use your scissors full stop?
Well, for years I used to do a lot of stuff with laces, and so I always had my lace scissors, and they were always labeled lace on the scissors, or I put a little ribbon on it because my kids were notorious for taking my scissors and damaging them. But I haven't been doing too much lace, so now it's just like, it is what it is. I just use whatever I grab, whether it's the lace one or what. But yeah, I'm not too particular anymore. I used to be. Okay, so we figured that we're going to move this one up just like so. And I'm just going to trim because I don't need all of it. We're going to trim.
I love the way it's peeking out, the smaller records peeking out. It looks really cool.
Mm-hmm. And then we're going to go about, I say that's about 3/4 of an inch. I'm guesstimating. I'm not sure.
Sometimes that's the best sort of measurement.
Yes. And again, it's that whole mentality of less is more. And if I don't have to pull out all the big guns like the paper cutter and all that, I am just the happiest person in the world. Okay, so we're going to add a piece of chipboard again. This is just leftover scraps that I have here. I just really want, I don't need all of it. Okay, so we're just going to go use that. So do you make your cards like really fast? Like it takes me for, like, I'm not saying I don't make cards. It just takes me it could take me hours to make one simple little 6x6 card or whatever kind of card. It takes me forever. Whereas
Oh,
you probably do it like in 2.5 seconds, right?
I must admit, when I got the Sign of the Times papers,
Mm-hmm. Oh, I like that. I love that collection.
I think within about 40 minutes, I made something like 6 cards, because the elements were just there to cut. You know, your background paper, your focal image, absolutely everything was just perfect. And I found that you know, that really easy to use.
So the paper made it easier for you to whip out some cards, some serious cards. So you would say it's all based on the paper collection? As far as
Yeah, I would think. Yeah, I mean, some images, I think it's the same as anything. Things, the only phrase I can think of is like sing to you. Certain things, you know, you can look at straight away and know how you want to use it and make it work, if that makes sense. And the Sign of the Times was just like that. I found that really, you know, I could see it and go, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Other times, I'm probably the same as everybody else, and there's a beautiful paper, and I just don't want to cut into it.
You're scared of cutting into it.
Yeah, you know, it's such a beautiful paper. You just think, oh, I'm not sure if I'm ready just yet to use you. I want to cherish you just that little bit longer.
You want to pet it.
Yeah, you know, just that little bit longer.
And Catherine Castillo. Hola, hola. She's from Peru. Hola. Okay. So then we have all these little pieces that we have to fussy cut. Wow, look at that. And that's the best part, fussy cutting, right?
I think, yeah, you know, it definitely is. You know, if you're in the, you can sit there for ages just cutting little bits out here and there, and it's just like you say, it's like, oh.
Well, I'm sure that those that follows me are probably May's fussy cutting. Fussy cutting, what? But it is a lot better. It's a lot easier than to turn on a machine. I cannot stress how much turning on a machine annoys me.
Yeah, and then it's great because then you've just got a whole bag of things ready to go to create with once you've cut all those, you know, spending that little time of just cutting them out. It's just perfect.
I know there's ladies that they can sit for hours fussy cutting. They love it.
I do on the train, if I don't doodle or draw, I will take things that I can sit there and cut out. Because that, you know, that's really, it's relaxing.
Then we have the little musical notes. We have to have the little musical notes. So it is relaxing, especially I think you should fussy cut on a rainy day when, you know, it's not a good day to video record, but you can just sit back and fussy cut. And Baul de Scrap says, very beautiful project. Thank you. And Tom said he hated it. You hate fussy cutting, Tom?
I can see that I hate it.
There's a lot of people that will say they enjoy fussy cutting. They just love it.
I think actually sometimes when you're cutting things out, it's allowing your head that creative moment about what you want to do.
And you know, it also relaxes you. It really does relaxes you. Like sitting here and doing this. If you have a very stressful day, just sit down and pick up your paper pad and just cut out all your pieces and have it ready for your next project. That's what I did the other day. I cut out the whole entire little collection that was left over from this one. I cut them all
Yeah.
out. I was like, okay, I need to unwind, de-stress, and I just sat and cut. I might put the trumpet in. I'm not sure. My son will probably be upset if I don't put the trumpet in there for him, but
Do you cut right to the edge or leave a little border?
no, I leave a little bit of a border. I'm not very good at fussy cutting. It's not my cup of tea, per se.
Is that is that because a visual thing, or like you say, because you?
I think it's just easier for me than to get right into the. And also, I think that the border kind of gives it a better appearance. I've cut
Yeah.
close to the edge, and it just doesn't look pretty to me.
So I'm just having an argument with my glossy accents.
Oh, see, I don't like using glossy accent. You like using it? Do you use it for
For
glue,
some
or what do
things,
you use
yeah.
it for? Are you just,
Well, when it works, I definitely like using it. When it's going to argue with me, no, I don't.
what are you using it for? Dimensional effects?
Yeah, I want to put it on top of one of the guitar images.
Oh, that'd be nice. But don't you have to wait for that to dry up? Oh, that's nice. That looks so nice. Look at that, guys. Isn't she talented? Look at that.
So that's just a quick
Yeah.
card, and I'm just used some of the tags. I've done what you've done is distress it, and I've put it on a black background.
Oh, I love that. Look how fast she did it too. See, I couldn't do it that fast. I'm a slow
And then I've just
crafter.
cut out, some of the extra little guitar images here, and then I had a little sentiment left over from where I'd used it on something else. But I
Okay, this
wanted the
one.
guitar to stand out because you've got those beautiful little plectrons as well in there and everything like that.
Yes.
Tom, my hands are so big, so it's awkward. Oh. And I was really good. I used chipboard instead of 3D foam as well.
And I like to say I have man hands. I have big hands. I have very big hands. For a woman, I have big hands. All right, so we got most of our pieces. I could have cut all these, before, but then I'm like, but they're going to want to see some of the steps. And, it's kind of hard to tell what people wants to see. Some people don't want to see fussy cutting or anything like that. Some people that tells me they enjoy watching me cut. And I'm like, wow, really?
I think sometimes it's how we all, cut different things out and how we layer up what bits we,
Yeah, some people enjoy it's relaxing. They can sit down and they say they drink their cup of tea while they're watching, us create, or their coffee. And I'm like, see, I can't sit there and do that. I'd be like anxious. I have to make something. My hands have to be doing something. All right, so not a good cut there. But we just kind of double this up with more chipboard. I'm trying to get as close as I can because that chipboard's a little bit thick. I'm gonna sand it down with my Emory board to stress those edges more. If we freeze, did we lose Lou? I think we lost Lou, guys. All right. Oh, she'll be back. She'll be back. All right. So since you guys know my secret that I'm not really one to take I'm just going to go ahead. There's no denying it. I use the ink pad to go right in to stress. All right. There's that. We'll do the same to all these little pieces. It just makes it so much easier, guys. We lost Lou. This, we're going to put some on Mod Podge to give it a nice little effect there with the wax. And I like to say that once you have all your pieces figured out of what you're going to put in and assemble, then it's like putting the pieces of the puzzles together. All right, there's Lou. Welcome back, Lou. This one's a little thin. Let's do this. Can you hear me?
I think I'm back.
Yes, we lost you for a second there.
Sarah kindly sent me another link, bless her. She's in the background beavering away.
Oh. Okay, so next we're going to do, we got that one already. And here, just a tad bit because it's so tiny. And I got the big hands, not to mention arthritis. It makes it hard sometimes to grab things. And everything is about distressing, inking, and then start figuring out. This one's going to go on to the back. So we're going to double this one up just to lift it up a little.
Do you always use a black ink, or would you use different colored inks as well?
It depends on what it is. I guess depends on if it's something that's kind of pinkish. No, probably not. It depends on what paper it is and what I'm creating.
Yeah.
If I want something that's got more contrast, then I would probably go with the black or, you know, the distress inks from Ranger. The Ranger distress inks. I do use those quite often too. The archival ones in particular.
Just watching you there avidly doing all the different layers. It looks really cool.
Well, I would like to see what you're making over there, because you're making something cool with glossy accent, and I'm like,
I'm just trimming down another little paper here.
And guys, if y'all ever watch me, you'll see me, I'm cleaning as I go, because messes really like.
Did you say you're cleaning as you went along?
I normally do. It's just, it's my OCD. All right, so here we have, we're going to start piling, we're going to start gluing, and I think we got it all figured out, all the mess on my desk. And
I must admit, I clean after I finish creating. I don't always clean as I'm creating.
Really? See, if I see a mess around me, it's just like my brain stops functioning, because it's going to go to that area that has a mess. So, yeah. We have to clean as we go.
I think if I was using like you did with the stencil and the gel medium and things like that, yes, then I'd clean them as I go along, sort of thing. But everything else just gets chucked to one side and I tidy up afterwards.
All right, so we figured that that's going to be in the back. And again, that's my focal point. That's going to be tucked under there, like so. I'm lining it up right onto the edge of that record. And then that's going to go, hey, little guy, you don't belong there. That goes there. And then we layered this up with chipboard, this little other tag. But you're not going to see the microphone because it's going to go right tuck underneath all that. Now, I did use some twine, and it's a very thick one, and it's extremely thick. So we still got some little bit more chipboard pieces that we need to stack up. But if you use dimensional, that's entirely a personal preference to you. I just have had, it never sticks. It never sticks. So we avoid the dimensional stuff. Guys, no, who am I kidding?
I love that orange, that rust color against your blue background, metallic background, just looks so cool.
Don't do this at home. Don't ruin your ink pads like this, guys.
I bet you though, if everybody's honest out there, they do what we're doing. You take the ink pad to the paper. I know we shouldn't, but
it's just a lot quicker, and you get more color in here. It goes in richer. It does.
Also, it's easier to drag it across the paper if you want to drag it across the paper as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It takes too long with these. It's a slow process. All right. So on the other one, I stenciled on top of this, but on this one, I didn't stencil. I'm just going to take and glue it right flat down. And I'm just going to use this Fabri-Tac. I had to order some in because I just got a new bottle. And I want to send some to Lady so she can try it because she's never tried it. I don't know if you tried it. I love it. So I just got in a bottle.
I do buy, if I'm going to buy glue, I must admit, I do buy big bottles and then I'll decant it down to smaller bottles.
All right.
Only because sometimes I can be quite heavy-handed with everything, and then, you know, before I know it, I've squidged out far too much.
I'm heavy-handed because I have big hands. And on this, I did not glue it all entirely like decoupaged it right on. Kind of like the sides lifting up just to give it that dimensional effect as well. So you might want to stick your hand in the back. Okay. Now we're going to take our twine. This is a very heavy, heavy twine.
So I'm looking on the screen to see that orange, that rusty color just looks stunning against that blue.
Yeah, I know. And I got this at a Walmart here. It's got like little pieces of rust on, chunky rust on it.
Cool.
I don't know if they meant to make it that way or what. I'm sure they did. Grunge it up for, you know, the fellow crafters that does farm style. Here, farm style decoration is huge. I just kind of went right in the back and tied it. And what I'm going to do later on is once I have everything, I'll glue these down and then I'll cut it back. But for now, until we're done, it goes just like that.
Oh, is that so? I know what you're saying, but is that helps if you wanted to make it like a hanger, you know, to hang it up? Does it serve a double purpose or?
No, on this one, it's just that me being lazy at the moment, I'm going to put some glue here later on and kind of let it sit for a bit.
Yeah.
And I'll probably use like a matte medium or something that's a little bit heavier.
Yeah.
To glue that down. And then I'll cut these back. I mean, you could let it hang. You could use that as a hanger, I guess, a hanging mechanism if you wanted to.
I thought that's what the plan was, that you actually had the texture and it was a hanger at the same time, dual purpose.
Yeah, you could. It does serve as a dual purpose. I'll cut it back though. I had mine stuck on an easel, so mine was sitting on an easel.
Yeah.
So we put that back here. We're going to tuck that right there. This one will go right here. But because you have that twine, you're going to have to probably stick something underneath as well, but not all the way. I don't need a whole full chipboard piece. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this one down, if that makes sense. We just need to, on certain areas, lift it up a little bit higher to have that dimensional effect, and so it's not getting caught up with the twine.
I like that, the way you're with the twine. That looks so cool. It's a nice way it's holding the tag in. So I have to keep looking at the computer because I get a really good, better visual. But I love the way it's it looks like it's holding the tag in there.
All right, so that's going to go there, so we can safely glue that one down. And again, you can cheat a little bit on your, like, see, that doesn't have chipboard all the way through. I just needed enough to get that side piece. All right. There's the focal point. Now I'm going to cut some of this chipboard because this is going to have to go on the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to anchor it up on the top and on the bottom. This is a new bottle of glue and it's really hard on my hand. All right, so we're going to add this here, kind of like a little lip, just to anchor it off from the twine. And it doesn't have to be perfectly cut. It's just enough to give that little extra lift that it needs. Oh. Lou, do you drink coffee?
So oh yes, just very much so. I'm not a tea drinker.
No?
No, not really.
Like the big thing in the UK, tea?
Yeah, I think probably now there's equally as many coffee drinkers as there are tea drinkers. I prefer coffee myself, but my sons, for example, will drink tea over coffee. So, and you see, if I drink tea or coffee, it has to be black. Whereas over here, a lot of people will put milk in with their
yeah, I drink my coffee black too.
And I can't be doing that.
All right, so we put that down, make some pressure, and there's our little focal point right there. And then we're going to focus on bringing this little record, or we're going to have to, again, lift it up because it needs to have a more dimensional effect. But this one...
That paper clip almost looks real on that topper, like you've actually...
It does, doesn't it? It does look like a real paper clip. It was a good Photoshop there. Okay, so we got that like that. And this one is going to be tucked just snugged right underneath here. Oh, what did I do? Right there. So we need to glue that down first because I forgot. We completely forgot.
So do you prefer to make like more male themed things, or do you prefer to pretty?
Yeah,
Or
I'm not a girly girl. I'm not really a girly girl. I like more of the steampunk mixed media stuff
yeah,
versus the, you know, the pretty and pink stuff. Because
yeah.
I'm not much of a girly girl. I'm a grungy kind of girl.
So we wouldn't see you using lots of ribbon and bows.
I used to back in the day, believe it or not, I used to do a lot of shabby chic stuff, a lot back in the day.
Yeah.
I used to, you know, make all my projects were shabby chic, with laces and, you know, girly stuff. But I think after so many years of doing that, I got tired of it. I really
That's right.
did.
Yeah, and we always want to try something a little bit new, don't we, as well? And
Yeah, and you know, there's so much you can do with laces, but there's a lot more you can do with mixed media and with a lot less effort.
yeah,
And that's why I like the mixed media aspect of it. Is I can use anything. I can use rusty nails. I can use any element I find. Um, and it all goes really nicely. All right, so here we're going to put this down here, and we're just going to trim. We're going to glue it in, and I'm going to leave a little bit of the black chipboard so it gives it a nice little contrast as well. And again, this is one of the pieces from the A4 collection of blue notes. I just kind of trimmed it off from
yeah.
there. And I'll leave some of the black to be exposed just a bit. My webs from my, all right, and then we're going to trim off some. And that's going to go there. Like I said, it never looks the same as the first project. Have you ever done, I mean, I don't think, maybe it's just me, but it never looks the same as the original piece.
No, I know what you mean. You always add something different or position something just a little bit different, which changes it. And
Yeah,
um,
it gives it a different effect.
that's a great way of using up, if you didn't have border strips, using up little bits of paper and stuff like that. Just watching on the PC as you do that, putting that strip along.
Mm-hmm.
It looks really good.
Okay. Then we're going to take the piano piece, and that's going to sit up here. And again, I kind of overlap that one. Hangs out a little. I like things that hang out. I don't know about you, but I do like my stuff to hang out.
No, I agree. I like things to hang over, or not
Overlap.
probably so much in card making, but definitely like you're doing. Definitely, it just,
yeah, the overlapping, the hanging out. Gives it a nice little.
It can
effect.
elongate a project, can't it? It can make it look
Yes.
bigger than it actually is just by doing that.
And again, I'm trying to distress these edges because I don't want them to be perfect. This is for a guy, and guys don't like pretty and pink, right? Guys want things that are kind of rough around the edges. Just like they are, a little rough on the edges, you know? Not pretty and pink, not perfectly flat and ironed out.
Oh no,
there's that. And
I
so
think
for this
sometimes when
little
you're
guy,
layering as well, it's nice to have that, you know, to show all the different edges and all the different layers. That looks really cool.
okay, so now for the little record here, I'm just going to use some matte Mod Podge. I'm going to go in, and I'm going to try to go around like the shape of the record,
Yeah.
the vinyl back in the day, you know, with the little.
I remember
If it
buying my
scratched,
first
it would skip
record
the
when I was
needle.
younger.
What's that?
So I remember buying my first record with my pocket money when I was younger.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What did you buy?
It was I think one of the first. Well, it was a 12-inch single, and it was by a group called The Specials.
Ah.
It's a ska group.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Mackin. Mackin. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You know who I bought?
Who?
He was from the Beatles, Paul McCartney, and Stevie Wonders, I think.
Yeah.
Ebony and Ivory.
Or was it?
Yes. Yeah. That was one of my first records that I ever bought in vinyl. All right. So what I was trying to mimic is the little, you know, the little line from when you buy the records, they has those little lines, and if it skipped the needle, that means it was scratch, right?
Yeah. I mean, gosh, when you think, I mean, you could get the vinyl in, you know, all different shapes as well as colors, and which was really cool. Collecting the different, you know, different albums that way as well. You're doing that really neatly.
Huh?
Said you're putting that on so neatly.
Well, I'm trying to get the little line from the vinyl, but I have shaky hands because of my arthritis, so sometimes it's not not easy, but I try to get the little line from the vinyl.
Yeah.
Do the same thing on this one. This one's a little bit easier. Half a moon. The special. My first single bought was Tears of a Cloud, Smokey Oh, wow. Smokey Robinson. That was good. That was a good one. Well, he had an event not long ago, I think he was playing on. He still plays. Okay. Looks like we got some lines in there. I'm just trying to mimic those little vinyl lines.
I think that's that's a really nice touch, a really nice attention to detail that just finishes off the embellishment just so.
If you have more steady hands, I'm sure it'll look prettier, but hold your breath while you're doing that.
I was holding my breath then as you were doing it. And I'm not the one who's even doing it.
I don't know if anybody ever does that when they're crafting, but I tend to hold my breath a lot. It's like, oh, let go.
It's one of those things, isn't it? Sort of thing. You're just praying it doesn't go wrong. Especially after you put so much effort into actually
making
you know,
it,
doing it and making it a feature as such.
I'm just gonna put some here. And I'm probably going to have to trim a little bit here and there. I don't want to cover the whole piece because build the puzzle. That's what we're doing. Building a puzzle. And using scraps. That's all these little scraps are wonderful for things like this.
Yeah. Keep, like you say, keep them all. You don't need, you know, don't get rid of them. They look.
Yeah. I have a whole basket full of chipboard scraps. Don't throw them away because they're just so, you know, useful. But it does, look, you can see the little lines on there, the vinyl.
I think that's a really cool idea with the record. I didn't even think of doing something like that. That's really cool.
All right, so then we're going to bring this here, and this is going to go up here. This is one of the labels from the collection. And we're going to, again, put a piece of chipboard in the back to layer it up. And I used 2 pieces, actually. Are you almost done your card?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. She's fast, lady. She's fast.
Sometimes that's better, though, you know, when you don't, because you're not overthinking it.
Yeah, because you don't have it planned. That's why. I like to create on the fly. I call it either winging or creating it on the fly. Why? Because if I plan it, then I'm like, oh my God, I got to make sure everything's like right, you know? And
Yeah, and
it's not.
sometimes if you plan and the plan that you have in your head, if it doesn't quite turn out how you want it to be,
Right.
you get cross with yourself, and there's no reason to get cross with yourself, but you do.
Right. I find that I do a lot better when I work on the fly than when I literally have something planned out. Like, it never fails. It's like when I plan something, it's just not the right. It doesn't come out right. I think that's why I get nervous.
Yeah.
Because I know it's planned, and you know, whenever you plan something, it always fails. Okay, so we have it all nice there. The only thing we have to do is cut these little words, and then we're going to layer those on chipboard. And you know what? I should have just layered it right on chipboard pieces. Let me grab a thin piece of chipboard. My daughter's probably in the back laughing at Mom. Like, Mom, you've done this a million times. Why are you so worried? Okay. See what I mean? Scraps.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Wonderful. All right, we're going to glue that down and then cut it out.
So I'm looking at the PCs you're doing that, and I can see what you're doing. Yeah.
A little bit of overhang there. I'm sorry if I'm off camera. I didn't realize sometimes I get off camera.
I love that. I do. Like I said, I'm looking at the PC as you're doing that. I love that touch of the twine. It just looks so cool.
Oh, I love twine. I think everything has to have thread, twine, something of that, you know, something has to have it. And I like to sew on my paper. I don't know if you guys like to sew on your paper, but I love sewing on. I'm not a seamstress. I always tell people I am not a seamstress. I can't sew, you know, don't tell me to sew some a piece of hem on a piece of on a garment, because I can't sew.
No, I can't sew either.
But I can sew on paper. I have no problem sewing on paper. That's like a whole different world for me, because it's not perfect. You know, when you sew on paper, it's not, you're not sewing perfect.
But then I wonder if it's because you're not putting as much pressure on yourself when you're sewing on paper as you would do if you were creating a garment, or
Probably. Like when you're creating a garment, you have to make sure every piece is right.
Yeah.
And when you're sewing on paper, because you're just putting random stitches, and I like the crazy stitches too. That's even better.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to go in and we're going to distress these edges again with our handy tool called the ink pad, straight off the ink pad. All right. So those are done. Those will go in. And see, this one I used dimensional foamy thingy, and they kind of curved in, and I didn't like that. So it's like, nope, we're not doing that again.
Oh, what, the paper curved in a bit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That wasn't intentional. That was foamy.
Where it's gone round it as such. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that. Okay, so let's get our wax, and I'm going to use some silver, old silver wax. You can use probably some type of a metallic silver paint, and you can dry brush as well. So I'm just going to go around. Let's do the vinyl first. Ooh, look at that. Give the impression of the lines.
Just highlight. It looks really good.
Mm-hmm.
It just, and because where you put them on the chipboard as well, it makes them look a lot more, you know, real.
Yes.
You know, like they're real, you know, items. Sorry, I keep flicking over to the PC because I get a bigger view of it, sort of thing, and it looks really good. Love that touch. I think that's a really good idea with the Mod Podge and the paintbrush. That's such a cool idea.
I like the way that turned out. Hey, Miss Patricia. How are you, Miss Patricia? Miss Patricia's been following me since, I think, 2014.
Oh, wow.
All right, we're going to go around the edges. You can grab a little brush and I just use my finger and go right in. Go into the canvas. I feel that with my finger, I get more textures in. And I can get in.
Yeah, you can rub it in just that little bit more as well, can't you? Or just be a little bit lighter in places, heavier in others.
Yes. Whereas with the brush, you have less control. How much is on the brush and how much you put on the canvas. So I kind of like the control of my fingers. And you can see the little sand grits falling off. It's flicking off.
But then I think that's a lovely textural touch as well.
I paint edges, but never test. Oh, that's what Allison said. Oh, well, that's good. Well, try stenciling it next time. You'll see it gives it a nice little effect on as well. You can see here. I love that stencil. Really gave it a nice little look on the side. Okay. We're going to go in with a little bit of a vintage gold wax. Give it a nice little contrast as well. On the records and on the side. Make it look like they have a platinum record.
Oh yeah, you can, can't you? You know, for however many sales that is.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to go around the edges with the vintage gold. And you can use your metallic paints. Do this as well. I did go around with my metallic paint on my other one. So it's a lot easier with this one. There. And I like the textures from the fingers. I don't know what it is about fingers, but it gives it a nice texture.
Mm.
Okay. So now we assemble these pieces. That one there. And again, it's all about composition and your focal point. Goes there. And that'll go there. All right. And where's my music notes? I seem to have misplaced the music notes. I'm sure it's here in the desk. Oh, no, that's not it. Well, anyway, you guys probably see it in my desk somewhere, the little music note, but I have no idea where it ended up flying. It's somewhere here in my disastrous mess of a desk. But this is pretty much all I did for this project. Paint, distress, and glue. That was it. Can't be easier than that. Paint, distress, and glue.
Or like that you've put it in the frame.
Mm-hmm. And I do like the Fabri-Tac because I can come back with my rubber eraser and any little glue seepage, I can easily remove it. It's that forgiving. And I still don't know where my little, isn't that weird? That's the weirdest little thing. I lost my little music note. Oh, well, no clue where I threw it. But if someone sees it on here, I'm sure it's somewhere in here. Scream at me. May, it's underneath your stuff there. Okay. So now we're going to do some glue, paint splatters, and I'm just using a metallic paint, and I'm going to water it down. I'm just going to go right on my mat. It never fails. All right, I'm just going to do some splatters because I think every job should have splatters. Every project should have splatters.
Always has to have a splatter.
Always have to have a splatter. That is just my favorite thing.
Do you cover up the main image or the main focal point, or do you just splatter everything?
Splatter everything. I just like the splatters. I splatter everything. Now, unless it's like a vintage image, then maybe I'll cover up the image.
I'm sorry if I distracted you.
All right, so I'm going to dry that up, and then I'm going to take probably some liquid acrylic and distress it a little bit more, adding some shadows effect. And I did use some thread, which you can use because, you know, the guitar has threads.
Yeah.
Or cords or whatever you call those things. What do you call them? The strings.
Strings, isn't it?
Mm-hmm,
or is that violin?
I think a guitar has strings. For our musical inclined people out there in music land, what is it? Strings or chords? I really don't know where I put my musical notes. That is the most bizarre thing. All right, it needs to the thread, as you can see, is kind of blah, but I think it needs my little musical notes too. So I need to find those, just not today. Did not want to peer out.
I'm going to look at the screen. Oh, that's
So
nice. A little bit of extra texture.
Mm-hmm. Just a little bit. You don't need to put a lot. And then we're going to get some liquid acrylics, and we're going to distress it. That's how I distress. I do my vintage distress look with liquid acrylics, and I use burnt sienna and a carmine color. And I spray it down. And let's go. This is the burnt sienna that I'm going to go in and just go in on certain areas just to give it a more distressed vintage look. And also some little shadows.
To help create some shadowing, some shading.
Yeah, some shading, some shadows. And I'm just going to go in on certain areas. I'm going to go with the carmines now. And that just gives it a nice little rusty look. I love things to look a little bit old and vintage versus new.
Well, that's nice. Oh, yeah, that's looks cool.
Any questions? Anybody have questions?
I'm mesmerized watching you do that.
And I do like the distressed look on the paper. But if you guys don't want that, then what I suggest you do is seal it with either a primer, a varnish. You know, I'm going to go in now with some splatters. Or Mod Podge is the cheapest version of doing it.
Do you always seal everything you make or not?
No, not really. No. I'm not unless it's something that it's like an image. No. Because I like the distress look versus the right off the you know, shelf look.
Yeah.
I like it to look vintage and old versus new. All right, as soon as I find my little music note, it's going to go here. I just have no idea where it went. I could probably, you know what? My son will probably love me. Not that he doesn't love me already. He'll probably love it even more if I just went like that. So we might just do that. We'll do that. And that'll give me a reason why if I don't find that music note, I'm not going to be bummed out. But you guys did see, I did cut it out, right? I wasn't going crazy.
Yeah, you did cut it out. Have you
did.
stuck the music? No. Oh, yeah, you did have it stuck down roughly in place by the on the record.
I know I cut it. I know I put dimensions on it. I put the little, you know, the little dimensional effect on it, but it's beyond me. It disappeared. It grew legs and left my desk. It didn't want to make the cut today.
Yeah, no, I definitely saw you cut it because I cut one out as well to match you.
Yeah. It did not want to make the cut. You know, some things don't want to be on a project. So I think that was it. That was just the one thing that did not want to be on the project today. And I think my son will probably appreciate if I just kind of did that. But I am going to go with a little bit of metallic rub. It just didn't want to be on the canvas. That's why. It really didn't. And I'll walk away from here and it's going to be right there.
Yeah, that'll be the most irritating thing, won't it?
Yes.
Then you'll be like, ah.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be right where I least expected it, or I probably saw it and didn't think it was. No, I cleaned up my desk and it's not there. It just wanted the trumpet from my son. That's why. All right, there we have it.
That looks beautiful.
Under my record, it could be. It probably is, and well, because it would have come out. All right, there we have it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I think it was pretty fun to make it.
That looks beautiful.
Very, very distressed. That was one. That was two. And it's very distressed.
They're similar, but they are different, like you said, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
They look really beautiful.
It has the same paper. The difference is that this one has a stencil on top. Oops.
Yeah.
This one has a stencil on top. And this one didn't have the stencil on top. This one, the paper is a little bit more roughed up, which is my personal liking. And then this one has a trumpet, not the sign.
Yeah.
But
it looks beautiful.
Oh, and the picture, the image is different. So this image is different from this image. So, yeah, that's it, guys.
Well, I made 2 cards while you were doing that.
Thank you, Miss Patricia. You made 2 cards. Oh my gosh, I barely made a canvas in 2 hours. 2
and I tidied up as well. So I added some extra bit. The first card I made, I added there was a beautiful stamp set. I don't know if anybody's heard of it. It's Music Life.
Ooh, I like that.
So I've just added some of that because I love that lip stamp.
Mm-hmm.
So I added that. That was my first card.
What stamp is that? The lip
stamp?
That
is from this stamp set here, Music Life. It's a Ciao Bella stamp set.
Oh, I like that.
And it's got some really, really cool images. So I stamped in the background and I took the sentiment, life without music is a mistake, and I added it to the front of the card as a sentiment. I'm trying to work out where my camera is. Sorry, everybody.
And you fussy cutted. Look at that. She fussy cutted while I was here. Fussy cutting and taking forever. I'm not a fussy cutter.
Aren't you? Oh, well, I did it quickly. And then I put my glossy accents on. And then I made that one, which is taking some of the elements that you had.
I love it. That is gorgeous. It looks like a lot of instruments peering out from the back of the record.
Yeah, that was. I took the record because you did the record, and then the strips, and then you put your sentiment in the little panel. I cut mine up to go in 2 different places, and then I used the same backing papers, but just use them in a different way.
I love, love, love how you put your little elements in there. For your record there. It looks really neat how they're all peeking out.
I know I'd stuck my record down there before I could do your Mod Podge trick though.
The Mod Podge, I thought that was pretty neat how, you know, it made it look like it had the little lines.
Yeah, no, I think that
everyone kept yelling at you growing up, don't scratch the vinyl. You can't play the record if you scratch the vinyl. So,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. See, this one I went really close around the edges. You notice that one, and this one I didn't.
Yeah.
And I should have, so that I could get more of a effect, but it's already a done deal. You know.
Oh, I see what you mean with the shading. I like the contrast between the 2.
Yeah. Yeah, you got more of a shading here, but this one I like the black because I got closer in.
Yeah.
A lot closer in, but they're 2 different, and I guess you can't have 2 of the same.
No. But they look similar, but you know they don't look the same. They've got like elements, but you could put them on a wall and not think they were meant to be identically the same, if that makes sense. They've got
they can go in because they're not technically they're not really the same. The image in the back is the same, but this isn't. So, and this isn't. Yeah. So that's it, guys.
That's brilliant. Thank you. Oh, thoroughly enjoyed that. I got mesmerized, especially when May was doing all the sparkle paste and all the texture and everything like that. And I love the trick with the ink around the outside and spritzing it. And I'm definitely going to try now. I'm going to cut out some of those records, and I'm definitely going to try with Mod Podge around and get those going. And if any of you guys have got these paper kits, we'd love to see what you've done with them and made. Ciao Bella, you know, on Instagram, on Facebook, just tag them. They'd love to see what everybody else is making with all their beautiful
Absolutely.
projects.
Absolutely. And Allison asked, did I use carmine? I did. I use burnt sienna whenever I do anything that has to do with rust, because I love the rust vintage distress look. I always use carmine as my go-to color, and also burnt sienna. It's the two colors that I always use. So yes. So the answer to that question is yes, carmine. All right, guys, I thank you so much for joining us and for taking the time out of your day to come out here and have fun with us while we created with some beautiful projects or products using the Ciao Bella collection Blue Notes. And I hope that you guys check out the other crew members that are constantly loading up beautiful projects. And who's next? Who's doing a project next?